Welcome, everyone. This is Virginia Parsons, and yes, I am your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Businesswomen Show. And I want to thank you for joining us here today. I know that your time is valuable, and it's my intention and my passion and purpose to bring you a gold mine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to help you grow your business from inspirational businesswomen in the know. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And I'd love to hear from all of you, so just go ahead and in the comment section if you type in where you're hanging out from. And my other thought is it would be so wonderful to form a great collaborative of businesswomen who can help uplift and inspire each other. So feel free to talk about your business also in the events, in the comment section of the event area, because it helps us all get to know each other better. So feel free to just type a little bit about what your passion is and what you're doing in your business. Now, today's show is sponsored by hangout-marketing.com. And you can get a free assessment there if you'd like to go to Hangout-Marketing, or you can text the word success, SUCCESS, to 307-269-2040. And when you do that, you're going to be able to receive a free assessment. And that free assessment is going to provide you with an understanding of your information and knowledge base and skill set around Hangouts on Air. So I'd like to make sure that you take advantage of that, and it'll only take you a couple of minutes. So if you do take advantage of that, you might even qualify for a free strategy session with me. So go ahead and check that out, won't you? Now today, what I'd like to share with you is a little bit about the show and what you're going to receive as a result of being here. Because I want you to receive action-packed strategies and tips that you can take home and apply to your business. And there's nothing better to apply to your business than getting your passion out on paper. So today's show is all about discovering the author inside of you. And we have a wonderful guest expert here today to go over all that with you. Her name is McIndoo, and she's thought of as the author's coach. And she's also the CEO of So You Want to Write. And I'm so excited to share her knowledge with you because it's extensive. We're going to talk about the 7 easy book writing steps you can use to get that book out of your head and down onto paper. We're also going to talk about the power of using teams, book writing teams, to make this process even that more efficient and effective. Finally, we're going to talk about leveraging that book even before you may have it produced or published. So Anne's got some great tips for us here today. And why should you listen to Anne? Well, let me tell you something. This lady has been around teaching this information for a number of years. And she has herself published over 4 books on writing. She has also helped produce, write, and publish over 1,000 books for professionals and coaches and entrepreneurs and people in the know. So she really has the experience to help you get your book, again, out of your head and onto paper. As a speaker and trainer, she has an author's boot camp she's going to tell you a little bit about, and a little bit about why business way beyond your book, and that'll have to do with leveraging. So Anne, I'm going to bring you on and go ahead and say hi to our audience, would you please?
Good morning. Hello. How are you today, Virginia?
Well, I'm doing great. I was telling Anne that we just had the best weekend of rain in Reno. And when you get rain in Reno for a whole week, you get excited because I'm in the desert. We ended up putting out a terrible forest fire nearby here. So I'm doing great, Anne, and happy to be here with you and having you join our audience. So let's start for a moment just talking a little bit about your background, how you got to be specializing in this area of book writing and coaching authors in how to write books. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I've always loved to write. I wrote my first story. The first story I can remember writing, I was 9 years old. So I've always been a writer, and I love to write stories. And I had some great experience writing, and I had a company for 20 years, computer training services, and I wrote over 250 documentation books for my clients, how to use their computers. So writing has always been, you know, in my heart. And in 2003, I was invited to be the creative assistant for Tony Robbins and help him with his book. And I did, and I helped him with his book, and we had a great time. He wrote a beautiful book called Inner Strength, and I learned it was the University of how to write a book. And so I borrowed a couple of strategies, because people started asking me, hey, I heard you helped Tony write his book. Can you help me? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And so after about the fifth one, I thought, you know what? I like doing this. I think I'm going to start something here. So I started So You Want to Write in January of 2005. And since then, I've produced over 1,000 books for professionals, as you mentioned, speakers, consultants, coaches, business owners, entrepreneurs, and to help them create their book as a powerful tool to grow their business, to put them head and shoulders over their competition, to give to prospective clients. In the olden days, everybody gave a business card, and then it was a website, and then a brochure. And so when someone gives a client a business card or a website or a brochure, that could be an important piece, but it all ends up as a faded memory or in the trash can. But if you give someone your book, believe me, no one's going to throw your book away. No one can throw a book away. So what it does, a couple of things happen. One, it sits on their desk and then maybe goes on their cadenza or their bookshelf. Or two, they give it to someone who does want to write a book. And so that's how I use my book, and that's how you can use your book to promote your service. And your book, anyway, that's a whole different seminar, but that's what I do.
Well,
I help people.
Let me ask you this again. I want to make sure this is clear for people. You wrote your book, one of your books, and you started using your book as your business card.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So now, over the years, you've obviously worked with a lot of different people. Do you have any wonderful stories or examples to share with us as to how this can transform somebody's business?
Oh, absolutely. A book always transforms your business in a variety of ways. First, the book makes you an expert. It gives you credibility. As I mentioned, it puts you head and shoulders above your competition. And one of my favorite stories, I have so many. One of my favorite is a young gentleman who came to one of my speaking, just a little workshop just to hear me speak. And I asked him, so what do you do? He goes, well, I work for a mortgage company. And I said, what do you do there? And he told me, I help people get mortgages, and I absolutely hate it. And I go, well, what do you like doing? And he said, I love helping people get their credit fixed so that they can buy a home. And I said, well, is there a system? Is there a way to do that? And he said, yes. So we wrote a book about it. And we published his book, and then I suggested he start asking, different people that he knew if there were any speaking opportunities or a little chance that he could talk about what he does. And so he emailed me and he said, I am going to speak to the church congregation on Thursday night, and I have 12 people coming. So then I wrote him back and I said, do you have a flyer yet for your 99-cent workshop? $99 workshop to help them? And he said, I don't have a workshop. I go, you better hurry up and get it done. Anyway, he invited everyone there. 7 people came. He had his workshop. Long story short, he was able to quit his job, and he does this full-time as a consulting, helping people fix their credit. So lots of my authors have been able to quit their jobs, grow their business, be able to, like what I say, you have your exchange time for money and you have your book. And what we want to do is we want to adjust that so that you can spend all your time and generate more revenue with what you're passionate about.
Oh, I think that's phenomenal. I mean, you really are in a way setting people free from the drudgery of the 9 to 5, where they're not happy doing what they're doing, even though they're an expert in that area, and giving them an opportunity to take their knowledge and leverage it in a way that starts a whole new business.
Yes, one of my favorite things to do with an author that we do at the very beginning, I call it brainstorming, but I can't tell you how many businesses I have started or helped my clients start, because I say, well, so tell me about what you do. Tell me what your passion is. Tell me how you like to spend your time. And when they tell me, then we brainstorm, well, you could do it this way. You could do it this way. Here's how a book could help you do that. And then what we'll talk about later, leveraging that book and make it a profitable author. Because one of the things that I want to help stamp out as unprofitable authors. So many people write their books and they find themselves with, hundreds of copies in the garage. And to me, that's I want to help them sell those books and make more money with their book.
Oh, that's brilliant! Just brilliant. Well, now you have a process, and it's 7 steps to writing a book. And I know you're going to share with our audience a couple ideas that they can take from these steps. So I'll let you go ahead and take over just what you want to share with them and what they can get available afterwards.
Okay. All right. Well, as a result of working with Tony Robbins, I saw how he created his book. And it wasn't by writing the book, it was by talking the book. And so we would prepare and we would create all the subjects and topics and create a storyboard. Then he would talk each chapter. I would have it recorded and transcribed, and then I would create the chapter, and then we would create the content. And it worked a lot faster to talk it versus write it. And not everybody's a writer, but more people are talkers, and so it's a really great system. So I took some of those components and I asked him, I said, Tony, people want me to help them write their books. Do you mind if I use some of the strategies we worked on together? And he hugged me and laughed, and he gave me a big kiss on the forehead, and he said, yes, absolutely, follow your passion. So that's what I've done. And that's what my process involves. It's talking your book versus writing your book. So I came down to 7 steps to write your book, and I talk about it in my book, 7 Easy Steps to Write Your Book. And so what I want to do is I want to tell you what those 7 steps are, and then I'm going to give you the first 2 steps to actually get you going, so you can see how easy it is to get this done. That's the most common comment that my authors give me. They say, oh my God, I didn't think it was this easy. Thank you, thank you. And it works. So here they are. Okay, step 1, you're going to do what I call create your resource pile. And that's to gather everything that's going to go in your book. Step 2 is to create your chapter piles, which comes from your resource pile. Step 3 is you're going to create your manuscript grid, which is the structure of your book. And this will be really easy to do because you're going to use your resource and your chapter piles to do that. Step 4 will be creating your trigger sentences. So I'm going to ask you to write 1 sentence about each topic, which is really easy to do. And that's going to bring you to be your springboard to talking your book. So step 6 is your storyboard, which is a combination of your trigger sentences and your manuscript grid, and then you use that to talk your book. And then step 7 is once you've recorded it, when you've talked your book and you recorded it, then we create your manuscript for you. So those are the actual 7 steps. And what I'd like to do is a thank you, for being on the show and listening today. I'd like to give your listeners and viewers an opportunity to get my book, an electronic version of my book, for free as my gift to you, because I really, really want to help you. And the truth is, if you read my book and follow the steps, you'll get your book. I mean, I get emails every day saying thank you, And I do have programs and I do have coaching and all these events to help people write their book who want accountability and who want to have a coach. But you know what? I think you can write your book on your own, and I'm going to help you with the first 2 steps right now. So step number 1 is to create your resource pile. And what does that mean? That means to gather everything that you want to talk about in your book. And that means memos, documents, emails, postcards, memorabilia, photos, event agendas, anything that reminds you or inspires you about what you want to say in your book. So if you have a journal, if you have articles, if you have posts, if you have blog entries that talk about something you want to talk about in your book, get them out. And I want to see a big giant pile, at least 60, 70, 100 items. Now, if you have a bunch of documents on your computer, you don't have to print the whole document, every document. Just print the first page of the document and then write the subject or the topic on the first page of that document. If you have an idea, you don't have anything about it, but you have an idea or you have an experience, put it on a Post-it note. Let's say you want to talk about the fear of speaking on stage. Write it on a Post-it note. Fear of speaking on stage. How about learning how to build self-esteem? Put it on a Post-it note. Whatever subject you want to talk about in your book, that's what you want to write on a Post-it note or have an item for it. And then stack it. Make this big pile on your dining room table, on your kitchen table, on your living room floor, somewhere it can stay there for at least a couple of days, okay?
So this sounds like a mind-storming process to me,
yes,
where in a way you're collecting everything that might be related to the book topic.
Yes.
You are not in any way eliminating anything at this point. You want everything there just to sort of get your mind going into all the possibilities as far as topics and within the book. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Because I want you to make this big pile, this big buffet. And if you're thinking, oh, I have too many things, and is all this going to go in my book? You know what? We're not going to answer that question just yet. Right now, we are gathering. Because here's the truth. You may not use everything in that pile for the book, but then you can create some of those things. Some of those things can go into your workbook or your coaching program or your audio program. So gather, gather, gather. Don't be afraid of having too much stuff. Okay? That's step number one.
That's a great tip. Did you all hear that? Gather and make sure that you might have a space that you can keep it in.
Yes. Yes.
Disturbed.
Yeah, because sometimes it could take a couple of hours. Sometimes it could take a couple of days or a week. You know, pulling that box out from under the bed or that folder in that bottom drawer that has all the items that you wrote for my book. You know, I've seen them. Believe me, when I do my live sessions, I've had people come to my home with boxes of their ideas. And that's a good thing because I like to ask authors, you know, to bring everything to the table, and then we'll make the buffet, and then we'll create what we need to create. Because you're going to use your content on 3 levels. The general information will go into your book, the details will go into your workbook, and the nitty-gritty will go into your coaching or your system or your audio program. Does that make sense?
Now, what's step 2?
Okay, so step 2 is now embracing that resource pile and breaking it down to chapter piles. Okay, so now we're going to start with creating the structure. There's no writing, just thinking and organizing at this point. So step 2 is creating your chapter piles. So first thing you do is you sit down, you have a cup of coffee or maybe a glass of wine, sit in front of your resource pile and pick up one thing. And then you look at this thing and what is this about? What is this journal entry, this document, this postcard, this piece about? What does this about? This is about building self-esteem. So you get a Post-it note, stick it on there, write building self-esteem, put it in a pile. Get the next item. What is this about? This is about speaking on stage. Write a note on a Post-it note, speaking on stage, put it on the item, start another pile. And you go item by item by item, put a Post-it note, ask yourself, what is this about? What is the topic of this? Make a Post-it note for it, put it on the item, and then start a pile. Now, as you go through your resource pile, you're going to find 3, 4, 5, 10 things that are about the same topic. Great. Put them all in one pile. And when your resource pile is gone, all the Post-it notes are gone, now you should have 5, 8, 10, 12 piles. Now you put the piles in the order that you want to talk about there. Put them in like a logical order or a chronological order or step-by-step order. Those are your chapters. Those are the chapters. Each little pile is a chapter to your book. So now you get the chapter pile, and now you look through the Post-it notes and the items and put them in a logical order. And when you've done that to all the piles, now you have the structure of your book.
That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Not only that, it sounds like so much fun sitting down over a glass of wine or a cup of coffee doing it this way.
It is. And you know, excuse me while I reach my arm patting myself on the back. I invented that.
Right. Well, it sounds like it's been put to good use considering the number of books that you've helped get published. So
yes, and you know what? That's what people say. Oh my God, this is so easy. It's easy because it's all your stuff. You know your stuff. You know what order they go in, so it's easy to organize them. And that's step 2. That's creating your chapter piles.
Oh, thank you. So those are brilliant. So for our audience at home, here's some big takeaways then. It's your resource pile. Get busy collecting all that. Mm-hmm. And step number 2, once you've collected everything, put it into organized areas or topics. Yes. And those you'll then organize into your chapters. So yes. Love that. Love that, love that. Okay, we just have to move along even though this is such great information. Let's talk for a moment about the value of teams and how you can use teams, what you would call a book writing team, and how you can take that to make this even more efficient a process for you.
You know, being self-employed for, it'll be 30 years in May. Oh, God, am I really that old?
And wise.
And wise. But, you know, as you and I were saying, you know, 30 years I've been self-employed, 30 years, and I've learned a lot of lessons during those 30 years. I've had 2 companies, 20 years with computer training services that I built and sold, and then my second company now, So You Want to Write, that I've had, it'll be 10 years in on January 1. So, you know, I have some great ideas about growing your business, about do's and don'ts, and one of the most powerful strategies that you can employ is getting a team. A team not only for your business, but a team, you know, even if it's you and one other person, or sometimes you're the team for a project. For book writing, you need a couple of people on your team. You know, of course, I always like to say you need a coach. You know, just like all the athletes and the Olympic gold winners and movie stars, everybody has a coach. Everybody has, you know, a mentor. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from my own mentors that I've learned is get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody to help you. And so in building my business, I found that having a team, especially with writing a book, I couldn't do everything. So I am, for the team, I'm the gal that's going to get the book out of your head. And as an author, you're going to write your book. So on your team, you want someone to help you, to look at your material, to review your material, to give you feedback. And no, it can't be family and friends, because they're going to say, wow, that sounds good. No, really not. You want someone who's going to be objective, you know? So, you know, some books are really good and some books really suck. And you need to know if your book is not a good book, and you need to know right away. So get a mentor to review your material. You get a publisher who's going to look at your book, who's going to publish you, give you distribution, put you on Amazon, give you the proper promotion to help you get your book out of there, to get your book out in the world, because your book is your baby, and you want your baby to be beautiful, and you want your baby to be out there serving. Most of my clients, when I ask them, I always ask them 4 questions when they write a book. Number 1, why are you writing a book? What do you want to, you know, why are you writing this book? Second question is, what are you going to do with this book? How are you going to use the book? Number 3, who is your audience? And 4, where is your audience? If you can answer these 4 questions, yes, you're ready to write your book. And so part of your team, besides your coach, your publisher, then you want someone that can help you on the internet. I have a really great VA, a virtual assistant, and she does everything that has to be done on the internet, from getting my website to doing my shopping cart to doing the affiliate program, to do anything that has to do with the internet. So I have a team of gals that are really great, that know their stuff, and can help me process orders, help me when people call, to take care of my clients, because that's my biggest goal, is to help my client get their book out of their head and into their hands.
So what you're saying is, do not spend your time on things that you're not the expert on.
Absolutely.
You outsource those to people who can do it quickly and efficiently for you,
Absolutely.
and you stay focused on your area of expertise.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, now you also talk a little bit about the fastest path to cash and this idea of leveraging your book even before it might be published. I think everyone would like to hear about that.
Oh, absolutely. I used to think that the steps are, and most new authors that I work with all believe you write your book, you publish your book, you set up a website, and then you sell your book, and hopefully you'll make a lot of money. And you know what? No, that's not how to do it. When you're thinking of writing a book, and most publishers will tell you this, you start publishing, you start promoting your book 6 to 9 months to a year before your book is published. So you're thinking about writing a book, start right now. Start promoting it. Hey, I'm writing a book. All you need is your book title, which can change, but what you need is your book title. And I say on Facebook, hey, I'm writing a book on speaking on stage. What would you like to know about speaking on stage? Have you ever spoken on stage? Give me your 3 biggest tips. Now you're getting content. Hello? Now you're getting feedback. Oh, there's so many. And I do another thing that I call my author's book tour. And it's a personal book tour. And so I say to my author, okay, here's what I want you to do. Go to a bookstore, a new bookstore that has new books, like Barnes & Noble. Remember when there were more? Yes. Go to a bookstore if you can find one, and then go ask the helper, I'm writing a book on, and give them your subject. Don't tell them you're writing, or just say I'm looking for a book on. Don't tell them you're writing, and see where they take you. And then go and look at those different departments or those different genres and see who your competition is. Is there already a book on speaking on stage? Open it up. Look at the table of contents. What do they talk about? And you're not that you're going to copy them. What you're going to do is you're going to see what they talk about, and hopefully maybe that table of contents will inspire you or remind you about what you want to talk about in your book. Pull out all your competition, 5, 8, 10 different books. Go sit down, get a cup of coffee, and look through them. What do they say about it? One thing that I like to suggest to my authors is get a regular piece of paper out of the printer, fold it in half, make a mock-up of your book cover or print it out on the computer, and then take it with you to the bookstore, and then put it on the shelf and visualize your book there. See your book on the shelf. And you know what? I did that, and sure enough, 6 months later, that's where my book was, on that shelf. I'll tell you, there's nothing like seeing your book on the bookshelf other than one thing. When people give you money or a credit card, or they ask you to autograph the book, that is a very cool thing. So one of the things that I like to coach my clients on is start talking about your book. Talk to people. I'm writing my book. I'm getting my book together. Talk about it on Facebook. Tweet about it. See what kind of reaction you get. Then start get your resource pile, get your chapter pile. Start putting your book together. Hire a coach, whether it's me or someone else. Hire someone to help you get that book done. Start looking at publishers. There's a really easy way to look at publishers. It's called Google. Go to Google and type in self-publishing, and you're going to get a million hits of publishers all around the world. And I'm
going to jump in right there.
Yes.
Okay, take action. Google self-publishers.
Yes.
That's something you can do today.
Free.
Oh
Easy.
gosh, this time has gone by so quickly, Anne. Can we just take a couple minutes to talk a little bit more about business way beyond your book? And I think that you had something to share with our audience in that regard.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I talk too much. I talk too much. Talk too fast. Anyway, here's what I like to say to my clients. Okay, so you can make money with your book before it's written, before it's published, by creating ancillary products. And I always ask my clients, my authors, would you like to make $20 with your book, or would you like to make, sell your book for $20, or would you like to sell your book, your workbook, and your audio program or your coaching program for $1,000? Which one would you like? And because I will help you create that. And because you can offer your coaching, your assistance, your services before the book is out. So why not generate income before the book is out? And so you can do that with ancillary products. I've created my own program to help you create your ancillary products, and that's what I call business way beyond your book. So whether or not you have your book, you can create ancillary products. If you've been coaching, if you have a system, if you've been helping others, you can create ancillary products very quickly. And that's what I do at my Business Way Beyond Your Book seminar.
That sounds terrific, and a whole nother course in itself that would be valuable.
Yes.
Now, would you recommend taking that before or after?
You can do it anytime. If you already have a book, come on down. Let's get started. We can do it right now. Thinking about a book, but you're already coaching, come on down. Let's create your coaching program and your workbook, and then you can start making money now, and then in the meantime, we can get your book done. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, we have come to, we've gone over, I've never been able to get this right at that 30-minute mark, but I don't think if people are getting valuable information, it matters all that much, and you've provided an abundance of information. We have a couple questions here, and what I'd like to do is, first of all, thank everyone for taking the time to be here today. I think you got some really valuable strategies, tips, and techniques that can get you started on the path to getting your book out of your head and onto paper. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to post in here in the comment section, I'm going to post the address so that if anyone wants to come into what we call the after show and ask Anne a couple of questions, you can do that. So I'm posting that in the comment section right now. Just give me one more moment. Okay, and I want to thank everyone for being here. Now, next week, we are going to have a wonderful copywriting expert, has 30 years experience working in copywriting from Wall Street, and she's going to provide some valuable information for all of you, and her name is Sheila Krishman, so I'm looking forward to interviewing her next week. And Anne, I'm just going to say, would you like any final word, comment, or juicy tidbit that they can take home with them today?
Yes, follow your dream. Follow your dream, write your book. It will make a huge difference, not only in your life and your business, but it will leave an amazing, extraordinary legacy for your family, for your friends, for people in future generations. Do it.
Oh, follow your dream. And get it on paper.
And get it on paper, yes.
All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye, but for anyone who'd like to jump into the after show for a few minutes and ask Anne any questions, I've posted the link right there in the comments section. Feel free to join us. We'll be in here for a few minutes to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us on the Inspirational Businesswoman Show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.